We'll go ahead and get things started. Thank you all for joining us at the AFC Travel Show. We have a lot to cover today. We're covering the fall departures for 2024, as well as a preview of some of our great holiday trips. So lots to go over. Again, just a reminder that we do have a show code for the different specials at the end, and that is $199 fall. So make sure you use that when you do book and get those great savings applied. So as we go through the presentation, just a couple of quick items to go over. We are a tour company that does worldwide tours and cruises. So all different travel styles, whether it's train trips, river cruises, European tours, or our great national parks in the US. So lots of different ways to get around. And one of our most popular are our Unpack Once tours. And those are one hotel stays, great and convenient, and really allow you to settle in for your vacation. Now, what's included with an AFC tour? First and foremost is round-trip airfare, and those are shown in the brochure for each departure on the left-hand side of the page. We also have a fantastic team of tour managers, and we have one of those with us today, and Chris McCool is joining us, and he'll be sharing a lot of his thoughts on many of the different programs that he's operating, as well as a lot of others. So great team of tour guides, and then quality hotels, inclusive sightseeing, and memorable meals. So a lot of our meals are dedicated to the culture, the region, and some of the great specialties there. And then our booking guarantees. We have a couple of different styles of guarantees. First are our guaranteed departures. And those are shown in the brochure and on the show today as GD. And that means there's enough passengers on that trip to travel. So you don't have to worry about those trips canceling unless anything crazy comes up. And then our guaranteed pricing. So what that means is once you pay your deposit on a tour, your price is locked in. And that won't fluctuate even if we do get hit with fuel surcharges or other fees that come our way. Those don't get passed on to the AFC travelers. So that's what you can expect with us. One of the biggest pieces to traveling with AFC is our home pickup airport service. So we pick you up at your door, take you to the airport, and bring you back directly to your door at the end. And it's one of the best aspects of any program and any tour is to make that so convenient and to take some of the worry out of that first travel day. We also have our home pickup credit. So if you don't use the home pickup, it automatically applies $100 off your tour. And that's a great savings on your final payment. Some of the new aspects for 2024. First is our Travelers Club, and that is a loyalty program. So if you book a tour for 2024 or a European river cruise, you're automatically enrolled to receive $100 off your next trip with us and each trip thereafter. So these credits are valid for 18 months. So once you travel within that 18-month period, you book another one, you're automatically saving money. And that goes on and on. So as many trips as you do, if you book them within that 18-month window from each other, it's a great way to save. We are a word-of-mouth company, and refer a friend credit is a great way to save as well. So we appreciate your referrals of friends and family to travel with AFC Vacations. And so once a friend does travel that you referred to us, and we would automatically apply a $100 credit towards your next trip. So it's a great way to save money and explore the world together as a family. We also offer early booking savings, and now more than ever, we've expanded those. So for many of our trips, we have early booking savings up to $100 for the first 20 clients to book on a tour, and then up to $75 for the 21st through 40th traveler. For our European river cruises, those are extended as well, and I'll go over those in just a bit. But what AFC really comes down to is real people and real service. And we've been in the industry since 1982, so over 42 years of service and great travel. We are also covered under a customer protection by the USTOA, it's the United States Tour Operators Association, and that has a $1 million Travelers Assistance Program behind it. So you really want to make sure you book with a tour company covered by USTOA. We also have separate consumer protection that is insurance, so travel protection. And we have a policy available to you, so you make sure you protect your travel investment with booking our tours. Getting into some of the different trips that we have throughout the year. First and foremost, our mystery vacations. And these are generally about 5 days in length. A very interesting design to these trips and a lot of diversity in where we go. So we go all over. We have one international tour, and that's August 18th with Chris. So he'll be running that one. But each and every month, just about, we're sending a mystery tour out the door. And that's because these are some of our most popular trips, and they do sell out quite quickly. So you can see, even from the early part of the year, from March on through December, the first half of the year is already guaranteed for each of those departures, and September is almost guaranteed as well. So we look forward to getting these all off the ground and running, and great opportunities for you to travel. How they work is our office staff can direct you towards the right departure for you. So whether you've been to certain destinations, you can always tell our staff if there's areas you want to avoid, or if you've been to, or if you've traveled with us before, they can look up your history. And then what we do is we'll send a packet about 3 weeks ahead of departure, and that gives you the basic information, how to pack, the average weather of the destination, and what time your pickup's going to be. Everything else is left to mystery, and that's one of the fun parts of these tours. You get together with a group of about 30 or 40 people that are all in the same boat and all excited about what's coming next, and that's one of the greatest aspects of this. But within that packet, if you are that curious and you want to know, the information's there. We just ask you not to show it and share it. So great programs all over the country and outside as well. Now, Chris is going to join us here in just a second and talk a little bit about his 2024 schedule for the remaining tours with space. If it's not listed on here, it's probably sold out already, because we've had a tremendous year already with great sold out tours. And then at the bottom, we also have his early release of 2025 tours, and these are the European river cruises that he's been assigned to. So, Chris, I'll have you jump in and take it away from here.
Thanks, Will. My schedule is one of great excitement, at least for me, because I'm going to places that I love so very much. Many of you know that I lived in Utah for 10 years and certainly loved that trip. There is space on this. If you want a fantastic small group experience to Utah's mighty national parks, June 2 through 8, it's still not too late to jump on board. Now, there is a mystery trip prior to that. That leaves this Thursday. Probably can't get you on that one. But check out the Utah trip, because we will bring these red rocks alive to you. You will understand why they are there and the human history and the flora and the fauna surrounding it all. It's a lovely, lovely experience. Colorado Rails and National Parks. I love living in Colorado, and I have spent a lot of time there over the years. And if you travel with me on this Colorado Rails trip, I will teach you parts of Colorado you never knew existed. So that's August 4th, and I'd love to have you. It's a great time to be there, especially if you live in the South, where it's so oppressively hot. If you're in California, you already have lovely weather, but so many of us do not in August. Now, the International Mystery Trip is an interesting trip. Remember this, mystery trips are all about places that are off the grid, places that no one else goes. Sometimes mystery trips will be to a place you perhaps have been, but we'll be seeing sites that are not in anybody else's travel brochure. And that is what they are about. So check this out. We either do Mexico or Canada. You can pretty much guess we're not going to go to the heat of Mexico, but remember this, we could be going because Mexico has high altitude as well. But this trip in August is a wonderful mystery trip. Idaho is a tour I've led many, many times. Think about this, 2 5-star resorts. 2, the Sun Valley Resort in Ketchum, Idaho, and the beautiful Coeur d'Alene Resort, as well as the fabulous resort in Riggins, Idaho, right at the confluence of the Big Salmon and the Little Salmon River. Beautiful trip to Idaho. Now, Niagara Falls and the Grand Hotel is all about that. It includes some Detroit, some Henry Ford sites, but also 2 nights at the Grand Hotel, the biggest front porch in the world, and wonderful food. And then to Frankenmuth, the Bavarian village. And then you'll see Niagara Falls from every angle there is to see it, from the Canadian side, from Niagara on the Lake to the Welland Locks, the Great Gorge, 3 miles below the falls, biggest standing rapids in the world. We'll see all of that. Pittsburgh and Falling Water, if you want to see what a mystery tour is about, this was a mystery tour for several years. And I will lead 2 of these this year. You see the dates, 2 October dates. And let me tell you what's great about this. Pittsburgh is a beautiful regentrified city, as seen from the Duquesne rail train up at Washington Heights. But on top of that, we stay in a lovely hotel right in the heart of town. Lots and lots of beautiful museums, like the Carnegie Museum Museum of Natural History is there. The Frick is there. The Heinz Museum is there. But Falling Waters, think about that. Frank Lloyd Wright fame and the Kaufman family. And think about going to the very sobering site of Flight 92 at Shanksville, Flight 93 at Shanksville. So all that is part of the Pittsburgh trip. And remember, that was a mystery trip if you want to see an outline of the things we do on a mystery trip. So we have a number of mystery trips and then another October mystery trip as well. Hope you'll consider the 2025 schedules. You've never seen anything until you arrive at the Quakenhof Gardens at the Holland tulips and the Rhine River castles. An amazing site. And of course, Normandy and the beaches, Juno's Sword at Deauville, as well as Paris. And then the Christmas markets. I will be leading the Christmas markets this year as well, and hope you'll join me for that. Nashville, the Smoky Mountains and bluegrass. Well, it pretty much says it all. You know, there's music there. You know, there's beautiful mountains in Pigeon Forge. And of course, Dollywood is in Pigeon Forge, and there's some wonderful shows. You see, the September 16th is already sold out. The 25th is a guaranteed departure. And I promise you, you will see some amazing sights on this particular tour. And one of the ones I love a lot is the Biltmore Estate. The Biltmore Estate is got to be the most beautiful castle anywhere in the United States. And of course, the Grand Ole Opry, Churchill Downs, all the sites that you could imagine between Louisville and Knoxville, or I should say Pigeon Forge, and the Smokies, and then Nashville. The Great Lakes Adventure and Tulip Festival. Well, we only have a September 16th departure left because I just returned with my friend Pam Boudreau, and we just completed that particular tour 2 or 3 days ago, and it was a winner. Oh my gosh, the architectural tour in Chicago. On the September departure, we're not going to the Dutch Village, but we are going to see a lot of fantastic sites in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And Grand Rapids is a city, that's where the Ford Library is located, and some beautiful gardens. But we will be in Grand Rapids because the Tulip Festival is clearly a spring event. Mackinac Island and the carriage tour. No, we don't stay at the Grand on this, but we are on Mackinac Island at the Island House, which is a beautiful historic hotel with lovely rooms, every bit as nice as the Grand. And we will have a lunch at the Grand Hotel. We'll see the lighthouse at the old Mackinac Lighthouse in Mackinac City. We'll go to Green Bay and the Upper Peninsula, getting through the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And then we're going to go to Door County, which is Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, and the lighthouse there. And then we go to the Wisconsin Dells. So we circle Lake Michigan. You know, the state of Michigan is situated on 4 Great Lakes. Think about it. And there's only 5 of them. So this is really quite a lovely area of Great Lakes and Michigan, Wisconsin. Pittsburgh and Falling Waters. Well, we talked about that just a moment ago, so I'm not going to go into a lot of depth. But believe me, this is not the old smoggy city you remember from the 60s and 70s. It's totally regentrified, and you're going to see things like in that top left image, Point Park, where the French and the British had fortresses as the Monongahela and the Allegheny rivers came together to create the Ohio River. You see the Frick Mansion at the bottom left, the skyline of Pittsburgh, Falling Waters. It's a tour that you really should do. It's been a mystery tour. We've run it 4 or 5 times as a mystery tour, and we are on our 3rd version of offering it to the public. So I hope you'll sign up. New York City and the Hudson Valley. I want to tell you what I love about this trip. It's not just the big city, because just north of New York in the Sleepy Hollow country, New Paltz, you have everything from Hyde Park, Roosevelt fame, Hudson Valley, the Boscobel House and Gardens, West Point and the Thayer House at West Point, overlooking the Hudson River. The FDR Historic Site is there. The Maple Syrup Farm is there. And of course, cruising the Hudson as well. We are in New York City for a few days, and we get to see the important sites that you would want to see, including a Broadway show, Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island, and many other sites in New York. New England Rails and Trails is about seeing New England not only from the perspective of a motor coach, but getting to do two of the important rail trains that are in New England. So we do the obvious sites in Boston, including Faneuil Hall and Quincy Market. We as well go up to Portland, Maine, where you'll see the Portland Head Lighthouse and maybe even the Nubble Lighthouse while we are there. We're going to have a lobster farewell dinner while we are there. As well, we're going to take you to North Conway, and there's the North Conway Scenic Rail Train through the Keechee Gorge, and we'll see the Keechee Gorge, I should say. We're also going to take you to Mount Washington and the Cog Train going up to the place that has recorded the highest winds in North America. Hopefully it'll be a beautiful day when we make our way there. So lots of sites all the way over to Burlington, Vermont. Lake Ticonderoga is there, of course. And so a good section of the Green Mountains of Vermont and, of course, the Maine coastline. So try that out September 28th and October 5th. Guaranteed departure in October. Brandywine in the Philadelphia Amish country. Well, we stay in the Brandywine Valley. It's an unpack once. We're going to tour Philadelphia. Of course, the sites you would expect, Independence Hall. We'll take you to the Rocky statue. You see that on the left portion of that. And then beautiful Longwood Gardens. That's the right picture, upper right picture that you see. The fabulous Valley Forge area is there. We're going to take you to Amish country with a traditional Amish meal. And we'll go to Hershey and the museum. And there's the chocolate tasting there. So it's not just Philadelphia, but it is the Brandywine region as well as Amish country. Try that out. You see there are 2 guaranteed departures. Limited space on the first one, or on the second one, I should say, but hope you'll give those a try. Cape Cod and the Islands is a tour I enjoy so much, and I tell you why I enjoy it. Only one night in Boston, and we stay there primarily for the purpose of letting everyone arrive. Coming from the West Coast, it's quite a short little journey across the continental U.S., as you well know, to Boston. And from there, the next day, we're going to make our way down to Plymouth. Of course, the Pilgrims landed at Provincetown, and after 6 weeks, they decided they didn't like the climate so much. So they came up the Cape, and they come up to Plymouth, and that's 1620 to 1627. We will see the Plymouth Plantation, and everyone at the plantation is dressed in costume. They are in character, and they know nothing past 1627. You're going to see how the Pilgrims lived. You'll be able to question them, and you'll be thrilled with this walk back in time, because that's exactly what it is. We'll see, of course, Plymouth Rock and the Mayflower Compact, but we're going to stay in Yarmouth 5 nights, beautiful DoubleTree Hotel, and we're going to make our way over to Cape Cod. On Cape Cod, we're going to make our way to Martha's Vineyard while we are there. And at Martha's Vineyard, we'll take the bus and we will take you all around the island, and you'll learn about some of the very first Chautauquas that took place. We will also go to Nantucket, and that is a walking tour, because literally you can walk from the boat to the Whaling Museum and some other sites that are there. And we're going to take you out to Provincetown, where it all began. Very beautiful site with some lighthouses along the way. So beyond the Boston tour and Faneuil Market, it's mostly the Cape. So check this one out, and you see all the dates. You see some of them are already sold out. So don't waste time for those September dates, because they're very popular. Coastal Maine Highlights and Landscapes. This is a tour that I know Deb Howard leads this one a lot. And if you've traveled with Deb, you know what a thrill it is to be with her. She's as good as they get. And look at that. 1 night Boston, that's the arrival night. But look at all we're going to see. Portsmouth, New Hampshire, York Beach in Maine, Algonquin, probably one of my favorite coastal cities in Maine, Kennebunkport, and of course you have Walker's Point. That's the Bush compound that is there, Portland, and all the way up to Booth Bay Harbor. So there is a lot to see. The Trolley Museum, the Nedick Lighthouse, the Lobster and Clam Bake. So check that out. I don't know how anyone could do a trip without wanting to get a lobster roll every day for lunch. This is your trip to do that. Colorado Rails and National Parks. And this is a beautiful, beautiful trip through Colorado. I love this state. And we're flying into Denver, spending the night for the arrival night, but then we're going to follow the interstate, and we're going to stop at Vail, a little restroom stop along the way, maybe in Georgetown, we'll see, but you got to take another one. We we'll make our way through the Glenwood Canyon Gorge, which is beautiful. 2 nights at Grand Junction is a lovely DoubleTree hotel. A full day at Arches and Canyonlands in Utah. Not a bad drive at all, and beautiful sightseeing. Totally different than the mountains of Colorado, because here we're up on the Colorado Plateau, as you are at Grand Junction. Then from there, we come over Scenic Highway 50, I believe it is. And this is the scenic highway that is, a big drop off on one side and cliffs on the other, but it's perfectly safe and wonderful to take this road all the way from Grand Junction through Ouray and making our way to Silverton over the pass. And then at Silverton, we have some time in Silverton to shop, to look around, have some lunch. We get on the Silverton train. You see it in the top left picture there. And we'll take that Durango Silverton train all the way down to Durango, where we stayed at DoubleTree for a couple of nights in Durango. And then from there, we're going to go up to Mesa Verde for the day. This is, of course, where the ancestral Puebloans and ancient Anasazi lived. And you will learn about their lifestyle there and why they left. Perhaps we will find that out. We're not really sure, but we will speculate. We continue from Durango through Pagosa Springs, over Wolf Creek Pass, what a sight that is, to Great Sand Dunes National Park. You know, the sand dunes on this tour are taller than those of the deserts in Egypt as well as in China, the Gobi and the deserts in Egypt as well. These are 750-foot tall sand dunes. We arrive in Colorado Springs, where I believe we stay at the Antler Hotel right in downtown. And from there, we're going to do the Pikes Peak Rail train as well as the Royal Gorge train, which you see in the bottom right picture. Folks, this trip has it all, including the Olympic Center. It's a brand new building, only a couple of years old, the Air Force Academy, and other sites in Colorado Springs. It has a great chuck wagon supper and Western show as well, and it's one of the better ones I have been to. Hope you'll check that out. And that would be June of this year. And then August 4th, it says I'm on the August 4th one. June 16th is a guaranteed departure. I'm on August 4th, and then the September is sold out. So check out that. Idaho is a tour I've led over the years. I love this tour. We fly into Spokane. We will make our way to the Coeur d'Alene Resort. You will have rooms in that. See that top left picture? Well, that is the Coeur d'Alene Resort, overlooking the 25-mile long, beautiful Lake Coeur d'Alene, and your room will overlook the water. AFC has ensured that you have the very best room. It is a large room, wonderful meal there at the resort, and then the breakfasts are really good. And then we are going to go to the Ryder Ranch for a wonderful cookout. And you ask how you want your steak, just say cover in the plate, and that's what it'll be. And they cook it like you want it. It's a beautiful place outside of Coeur d'Alene, and we've been going there for years. We're going to go to Wallace, Idaho. It's a historic town, supposedly the center of the universe, according to Dante's Peak. But more importantly than that, it is a silver mining center. We're going to learn a lot about that, with even a tour of a silver mine. We will continue from there after 2 nights, make our way over to Lewiston Clarkston, where we're going to learn about the Lewis and Clark Museum, which is, of course, from their tour that they did under Jefferson's recommendation, and not recommendation, but sponsorship. And so we will learn about the Discovery Center there. We will make our way down to Riggins. And in Riggins, that is where we are 2 nights at the Salmon Rapids Lodge, looking at the confluence of the 2 rivers. And you will love this. And why are we there? For one reason. We're going to go over the Seven Devils Peak to the Snake River launch, and we will take a jet boat. You see it at the top right picture, up the Snake River. It's the deepest canyon in North America, and it is quite a thrill. And so we'll enjoy that. And then from there, we will make our way all the way down to the Sun Valley Resort at Ketchum. 2 nights there, seeing the sights, historic hotel from every respect. And you will learn a lot about this area. From there to Boise and home. Santa Fe is the land of enchantment. I had the privilege of leading this trip this last December, and it was a lovely, lovely experience because You have everything. There are 7 unique cities in America because they are culturally and architecturally unique. Santa Fe is indeed one of those. It's an unpack once. I love that aspect of it. We are only a couple of 3 blocks from the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum. We're going to take you on the high road to Taos, which is a lovely site, in the Chimayo El Sanctuario, which is where in the Catholic faith, there is healing if you rub the dirt on your body from a cross that was in the ground, found in the ground there. You'll see the Taos Pueblo and tour that. The Turquoise Trail is the backside of Sandia Peak, and we will stop at New Madrid on the way into Albuquerque for a little bit of shopping. We will have an Albuquerque tour at the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center. And this is exciting, the Los Alamos Science Center, that's where Oppenheimer all took place. The whole Oppenheimer experience took place there. And it is quite a gorgeous drive to get there. And then the Santa Fe School of Cooking. Can't beat that. It's a wonderful experience. So check that out November 3rd. It's guaranteed. The Southwest National Parks is a tour that is my part of the world. I actually lived in Zion National Park for 10 years and just loved living there. And if you have not been there, it is my viewpoint. It's one of the more beautiful places in the world. We're into Vegas for a couple of nights. We're going to tour Hoover Dam and the Mob Museum. Yeah, has the Mob ever been to Vegas? Well, Frank Sinatra was there, wasn't he? And he had a few connections with that. And we'll go to Grand Canyon West. That's the skywalk you see in the upper left photo, where the Native Americans have built this horseshoe-shaped skywalk. As you look down, you're looking a long ways down into the canyon. But then we travel from there to Mesquite, and we're 3 nights in Mesquite, and that is our base of operation. It is right on the Nevada-Arizona borderline, and only a few miles from St. George, Utah, Zion, and Bryce. And we're going to see those parks having that unpack once. It is a gambling town, so if you love to get your coins out, perhaps you can come home with more money than you showed up with. Check that out. It is a guaranteed departure in October, and there's a November trip that I'm sure will go, move to that status as well, with more of you signing up. Utah's Mighty National Parks. This is the one I will lead June 2nd. We still have space on it. I would be thrilled if you would choose to join me. You see Mesa Arch in the top left picture. You see Delicate Arch. Mesa Arch is at Canyonlands National Park. Delicate Arch is the symbol on the Utah license plate, and that is in Arches National Park, which is nothing but a large salt dome. You see Monument Valley in one of the mittens in the bottom left, and you see Dead Horse Point in the bottom right. So this includes so much. We fly into Grand Junction, where we spend 1 night, but then it's 5 nighs in Moab. Unpack twice, but 5 nights in one place, seeing all the sites I talked about, including the Goulding's Museum and Trading Post, where they have a John Wayne museum there. And then, of course, Colorado wine tasting. That's very popular in the Colorado River area of Grand Junction. So check that out. A couple of departures, 3 departures, and the September 22nd is already sold out.
So thanks so much, Chris. I'm going to hop in here, but really appreciate all your insights to these great trips. Coming from your experience and knowing all these great destinations, it really does help to have that influence. When it comes to Great Trains and Grand Canyons, this is one of our most popular tours we do. And we have departures every single month, especially in the fall. So we avoid some of the high heat in the summertime. And once the fall comes around, mid-September, that's when we start seeing programs start to sell out. And so we have programs pretty much every single week. Head out on Sunday, get back on Friday, and you can already see that October 6th is sold out. And each and every one of these tours is a guaranteed departure. So really great, fantastic program with 5 nights in Sedona. We go up to the Grand Canyon by Grand Canyon Railway. So we take the historic rail route up from Williams. And then we also do the great and fantastic Verde Canyon Railroad. And this is where we'll have first-class train car working our way up and back through this green, lush valley on the west side of Sedona. We'll take you to Montezuma's Castle, and that's a beautiful Sinagua cliff dwelling built into the cliff, home to about 50 people at a time. And then also out to Flagstaff on our optional tour, and that's where you get to see the great Sunset Crater. We do a Western steakhouse dinner, and that's a fantastic setting where the waiters actually sing and perform from a local school there. And then we wrap this tour up with a fantastic chuck wagon supper dinner, and so we get a performance there as well. But wonderful program, 6 days and 8 meals included on the Great Trains and Grand Canyons. California Rail Discovery, this is one of my favorite programs. If you're looking to head up north in California, we fly into San Francisco, and that's where we get 2 nights down by the bay. So this is the city by the bay, and we also incorporate a bay cruise on this tour. We'll do a city tour and then work our way up to Muir Woods, and this is home of the coastal redwood trees. So great opportunity to get out into nature. From there, it's off into the Napa Valley, and this is a highlight for a lot of folks. Really excited to see the 2 valleys, Napa and Sonoma. Napa is a little bit on the wealthier side, especially when it comes to tasting rooms and so forth, and we get a great perspective of both. Napa usually gets the hotter climate and Sonoma a little bit cooler, so there's a good variation into the grapes. Then it's off to Sacramento and the state capital for 1 night. We take the train up and over the Sierras to Truckee and drive around the east side of Lake Tahoe for a 3-night stay on this program. But as you can see, the June 5th departure is already sold out. September 11th is guaranteed, and we anticipate October 9th getting there as well. But great 7-day program with 9 meals included. Now, Chris was talking about New Mexico in the Santa Fe and Land of Enchantments program. The New Mexico Balloon Fiesta has all of that and more. So we do 2 nights in Albuquerque, and our main focus is that Balloon Fiesta in October. So we do the balloon glow at night, and we also do the morning experience, and that's where we come in early in the morning. We get to see the sunrise up over the hills as these balloons fill up and take off. This is the most photographed event in the world, and it's just stunning to see in person. We work our way around Albuquerque, get a little bit of a city tour there and Old Town, and then we'll work our way up into Santa Fe for 3 nights. And en route, we get the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center. It's where you get to learn all about the Southwest Native tribes. And then also the Los Alamos Bradbury Science Center. So you get to learn all about Oppenheimer and the experiments that he took place on. Then once we're in Santa Fe, we do a city tour there. And we also take the high road to Taos. And again, this is a great Native American settlement. So a wonderful opportunity to travel and get to see the most photographed event in the world, the Balloon Fiesta in Albuquerque. These trips depart October 6th and 13th, and they are both guaranteed dates. Getting out into the Aloha spirit, we have the Hawaii 3 Islands Adventure November 5th, and we work our way onto the island of Oahu to start out with and get to spend 3 nights by Waikiki Beach. And this is the classic picturesque beach up in the upper left corner. As we travel around, we'll get a chance to see Pearl Harbor, and this is a highlight for a lot of folks, getting out to the USS Arizona site and pay our respects to the servicemen and women who perished in that attack. As we travel around the island, we have an opportunity to do an optional tour, a Circle Island tour up to the Dole Pineapple Plantation, as well as the North Shore, famous for its surfing, but it is just a stunning area. You leave the city of Waikiki and Honolulu, and you get out to nature a little bit. Then we'll fly over and work our way up to the Big Island, and that is where we stay 2 nights in Kona, getting to see the Black Sand Volcanic Beach, as well as the Volcanoes National Park. And then over to Maui, and this is my favorite island, one of the most lush and beautiful parts. And we'll work our way around Maui up to Haleakala Crater. And our last night, our special farewell is a Hawaiian luau in our time on Maui. So great departure there, November 5th. Sunny San Diego and SoCal Highlights. This is a new tour for us. We just recreated some components that we've used in the past and spend 5 nights in 1 hotel. So it's a great unpack once experience in the heart of the city, America's first city, and that is San Diego. And so what we do off of this trip is we work our way up to Temecula. It's where we get to do some fantastic wine tastings. Palm Springs, so you get out into the sun and the wonderful valley out there. And then we'll also work our way up to Mission San Juan Capistrano. And this is where we actually get a chance to take the rail, the train, and that is the Pacific Surfliner from Amtrak. We visit the San Diego Zoo on this tour, and we also go out to Old Town, San Diego, and that's where the mission was first founded in the 1760s. So a great way to learn about California's history, and the great missions inspired that a lot of movement into this area. We'll do a regular San Diego city tour, so you get to see all the components of the beautiful city. And then we also incorporate Torrey Pines, so you get to see that beautiful stretch. But some beach components as well on this tour, and we take off November 1st and December 10th. Now, Savannah and Charleston is one of our most popular trips, and we do a holiday version of this as well in December. But we start out by flying into Charleston, and this is where we spend 2 nights. We go up to Middleton Place, which is a magical estate, and then continue down to Beaufort. So we'll do a city tour in Charlestown, and then in Beaufort, we actually do a carriage tour, and you get to see the coastline as well as these amazing manors and estates. Then down to Savannah, and we spend 2 nights in Savannah where we'll do a city tour there as well, getting to see all the beautiful squares surrounded by old oak trees and amazing fountains and statues. And then down into Jekyll Island, and this is kind of that gem as part of that tour. 2 nights at Jekyll Island where we incorporate a great meal, a dinner at Jekyll Island's Club Grand Dining Room. And this was the home of the rich and famous, their escape from reality and their getaway. And so they would vacation here to Jekyll Island, and you'll get a chance to see some of their homes as we tour around the island. But we'll fly back out of Jacksonville on this program, and we have a couple of dates. That is October 25th and November 8th. Chris talked a little bit about Niagara since we've ran this tour quite a bit, and he just did it a couple of weeks ago. But Niagara Falls and the Grand Hotel is our most popular Midwest tour. So we'll start out by flying into Detroit and work our way into Dearborn for 2 nights. That was the home of Henry Ford. And that's where we get to see 2 museums, the Ford Museum as well as the River Rouge plant, where they're building those F-150s. And then it's up to a big highlight, and that is Mackinac Island. It's car free, so we take a ferry over. And on Mackinac, we'll do a horse-drawn carriage. We'll take you up to the hotel itself. And then a horse-drawn carriage will take you around the island as part of our tour. Then it's down into the thumb pocket of Michigan, and that is Frankenmuth. This is a Bavarian-themed village, a wonderful city to visit, and a great Christmas store if you're into ornaments and that sort. Then we're off to Niagara Falls for 2 nights. We generally stay on the Canadian side, and so bring your passports on this one. Our May departures already sold out, but you can see we have September, October departures as well, and the majority of those are already guaranteed to go. Music cities, Branson, Memphis, and Nashville. This is probably one of your last opportunities to incorporate Branson into any tour, as we're changing this itinerary going forward into 2025. But Branson's a wonderful city with great musical acts and a great way to see this region. We'll start out by flying into St. Louis, and this is where we spend 1 night getting to see the Arch as part of our St. Louis Panoramic City Tour. Then from there, we head off to Branson for 2, and this is where we incorporate the Dutton Family Show, Doug Gabriel, and Yakov Smirnoff. So some great components incorporated in our time there. We do the Branson Belle cruise and dinner show as well, so we get out on the lake and see that. And then we work our way down south to Little Rock in Arkansas. That's home of Bill Clinton's Presidential Library. We'll work our way to the east, and that's where we enter into Tennessee and get 2 nights in Memphis. And we'll enjoy a great dinner out on Beale Street. That is the heart and soul of the blues. So a lot of different musical components to this. Get live shows in Branson, the blues in Memphis, and finally country music in Nashville. Now, in Nashville specifically as well, they have so many different styles of music. It's not all country. So even if you're not a big country fan, there's still some great music to appreciate out on Broadway, the main street. But we also incorporate a visit to the Grand Ole Opry on this tour, as well as the Country Music Hall of Fame. So this one takes off October 10th, and it is a guaranteed departure. Some of you in San Diego may have traveled with Bobby Lona before, and she'll be the tour manager for this one. New Orleans and Cajun country is a great way to travel through Louisiana. We work our way into New Orleans as a round trip air, and that's where we spend 3 nights. And New Orleans just catches my heart every single time I'm down there, with some fantastic food, great music, and great scenery as well as history. So that great French influence and culture is incorporated into a couple of our meals. We do the New Orleans School of Cooking, and that's where we get the Cajun style of cuisine, and the Court of Two Sisters dinner as well. We continue up to Lafayette for 2 nights and into Mississippi in Natchez, and that's where we get to see the famous antebellum mansions. So some beautiful homes, and people continue to tell me how great the Tabasco factory is. It's never made it so far for myself, but can't wait to get down there. This one takes off November 3rd, and it's a 7-day program. Getting into the north and into Canada, this fantastic program goes throughout the summer and into the early fall. So September 4th is our last departure for the year. This tour incorporates round trip air into Calgary. Then we head up to Banff for 3 nights into the beautiful, beautiful resort region. So you get to see a lot of Great Lakes as part of this trip, as well as Glacier National Park. So we do 1 night in Glacier and get to see that park as well. And then Head Smashed In Buffalo Jump is a really special, unique area. This is where the Native Americans would hunt buffalo off these cliffs and only hunt the amount that they needed for all-purposing items. So really a fantastic trip, getting to see Lake Louise, as well as taking the 1930s Jammer Tour cars. Great Canadian Cities is also a mix between summer as well as early fall, but our fall departure is already sold out. But I wanted to bring up the June, July, and late July departures. So this one hits Eastern Canada, flying into Montreal and out of Buffalo or Toronto. And we get the main cities, which are Quebec, Montreal, Ottawa, and Toronto, with some fantastic sites in between, like the 1,000 Islands cruise. Into more of our international programs, we have a couple of great river cruises left, and that is the highlights of the Douro with Spain. So October 28th and November 4th are really your last opportunities to cruise with us this year, as the rest of our cruises, about 5 different tours and tour dates, are already sold out. So these are both guaranteed departures, October 28th and November 4th. There's actually a $100 reduction on the November 4th departure, so that's a great way to save. We also have on that departure the single supplement savings of 50% off any of the cabins outside the suites and junior suites. So if you're a single traveler, it's a great way to save money and get your own cabin. 50% off the single supplement on November 4th. But with this program, we fly into Porto. It's a beautiful city in Portugal. And we spend 7 nights on the Amália Rodrigues, which was built specifically for this river with all its locks and dams. And it was built in 2019. We have 6 tour components included, and then 1 optional tour to a great winery, getting to taste some of that port wine. And we do a Porto City tour with port wine tasting included as well. Now, one of the highlights for me on this program is our time in Salamanca, Spain. So we'll work our way along the river and then take a motor coach from Portugal into Spain and spend a full day touring Salamanca. And there's so much to see on this day. So it really is a great option to explore. On board the ship, we also have live entertainment, both from the cruise director as well as local musicians, as well as dancers. So we get to see a flamenco, a fado, and folklore show on separate nights. One of the other great features on this cruise is an open bar, so you can really have a good time. And then we do include Wi-Fi on this program as well. So again, October 28th and November 4th, last opportunities to cruise for this year. On this program as well, we offer a 3-night extension out to Lisbon, and a lot of great highlights as part of that. Now, our December 9th Christmas Markets of the Rhine has sold out. If you want to get on the wait list, you can do so. But we have released the 2025 cruise, and that's now available. So if you're looking to do this in 2025, it is open to the public now. So please don't wait. As you've seen, all of our departures are selling out on these cruises, and they are great programs to enjoy the fantastic foods, fantastic markets, as well as local specialties all throughout Europe. Now, the Treasures of Croatia and Slovenia is a new program for us this year. We depart October 15th, that's already guaranteed, and November 6th, we'll anticipate that getting to there as well. But this is a wonderful program that highlights some of the main cities. We fly into Zagreb and spend 2 nights there. Then from there, we'll up into Slovenia and get a chance to stay in Ljubljana. We'll go out to a couple of the main sites in Slovenia, like Lake Bled and the famous Bled Castle, looking out over the lake. As we work our way south, we hit the towns of Zadar and then into Split and Dubrovnik. So we stay in both cities for 2 nights. And this is another wonderful stop, is the Plitvice Lakes. It's one of the national parks in Croatia and one of the most beautiful settings with amazing waterfalls. So don't miss this opportunity to travel to some unique spots in Croatia and Slovenia. Croatia has become one of the hotbeds of travel in the last couple of years. One of my favorite tours in all of Italy is staying up in the north and getting a chance to see the lakes. So this tour focuses on Milan with 1 night there. We try to get Last Supper tickets for Da Vinci's Last Supper, but it's based on availability. We do see the La Scala Theater, and this is home of opera. And then we tour Milan, getting to see the cathedral as well, before a 5-night stay on either Lake Como or Lake Maggiore. So we always keep an eye out for George Clooney. We'll continue from those areas out into Lugano, and that is on the border in Switzerland. So we actually cross into Switzerland on this program, get a little flavor of the chocolates and Swiss fondues while you are out about for lunch. We do a city tour of Lake Lugano as well as the cable car ride up to the top of the mountain there. Then we work our way over to Venice, and Venice is a hub of activity. We incorporate the gondola ride, as well take you out on a boat to Murano for a glass demo, and the island of Burano, pictured in the bottom left with all the beautiful colors. So this one takes off October 9th and November 6th. Now, I just got back from Iceland, and I cannot say enough good things about this destination. It encompasses so much. I had 0 expectations for Reykjavik, and I was blown out of the water. This city has so much to offer, whether it's the museums or the great food, incredible restaurants, and a lot of activity there. Then we work our way out. We spend 5 nights in the city of Reykjavik at a great hotel property, the Grand. We work our way out to the Blue Lagoon, which is a highlight for a lot of folks. And then from there, we incorporate our visit, so you do have that included. We also get to see a number of incredible waterfalls. And so we'll see the Skagafoss, and that is a waterfall out on the coastline as we drive around the south end of Iceland. And then Lake Kleifvartin, and it's a wonderful destination to explore as well. Here on the left-hand side is the famous cathedral in Reykjavik, a modern cathedral built right in the city, and great views on the interior as well as the exterior. I mentioned the Blue Lagoon, and then these incredible waterfalls that we see just about everywhere all along this travel experience. I didn't want to take a nap on the coach because I was going to miss something, and it's that beautiful. You're surrounded by mountains. You have volcanoes in the far distance. Those didn't bother us at all. And then, again, these beautiful landmarks, geysers, and incredible food. So this one takes off September 18th, and October 2nd is a guaranteed departure. England, Scotland, Wales starts off in Edinburgh for 2 nights. We work our way south, getting to see Edinburgh Castle and the city. And then it's down into Bristol and York. We stay in York for 1 night, down into Stratford upon Avon. So this is William Shakespeare fame. Out into Wales, and that's where we see the city of Cardiff. And then 2 nights in Bristol before we incorporate Stonehenge. And we wrap this tour up with 3 nights in London, where we do a great city tour with Buckingham Palace and getting a chance to see the changing of the guards. But each one of our departures in October is guaranteed, the 9th, 16th, and 30th of October. Treasures of Ireland, they really do call it the Emerald Island because it is so green and beautiful. Chris was just there in April, had a great time, but we head out October 15th, 22nd, and November 5th on this tour. We'll start out by flying round trip into Dublin and stay 2 nights there. We work our way out to the west coast, and this is one of the most scenic stretches in Europe. So we'll stay 2 nights in Limerick. That's where Angela's Ashes, the book, was written, all about the struggles of the potato famine and just general life in Ireland in the 1800s. We go up to the Cliffs of Moher and also see the city of Galway. And this is a beautiful university town, very young and vibrant, and a lot of fun to see the cathedral there. We'll continue south down into Killarney. That's where we spend 2 nights and do a loop around the Ring of Kerry, one of the most scenic stretches in all of the country. We'll continue back up to Kilkenny, getting to see this beautiful city as well. And we stay 1 night in a castle outside of Dublin. So it's a really unique opportunity there. We also do the Blarney Castle as part of this tour coming up in 2025. So keep an eye out for that. The Blarney Castle will be back in 2025. On our culinary tour of Tuscany, this program is a fantastic 1 hotel stay. So we unpack once in the region of Chianti within the region of Tuscany. Florence is the main city within that, but we also visit San Gimignano and Siena. But Florence is the focal point because it is the heart of the Renaissance. So you have all sorts of art all over the city, whether it's paintings or statues. We also incorporate the Michelangelo's David and his prisoner statues in the Accademia Museum. That's all part of our city tour in Florence. We'll see the Duomo, the famous cathedral, as well as a walk over to the Ponte Vecchio, the old bridge, and then off to the City of Towers, that's San Gimignano, and then the home of Il Palio, the horse race, in Siena. And this is built up on a Tuscan hillside overlooking the vineyards and amazing olive groves. We'll work our way south to Lake Trasimeno, and that's where we do a lunch out on the lake, and then some free time in Volterra as well. So this one heads out all throughout the fall, September 24th, October 1st, the 15th, and November 5th, all of which are guaranteed. So these are great programs and really exciting trips. 16 meals incorporated on these tours. So really all-inclusive in that sense. Roman country roads, getting to see Montecatini. And this is a city up in the northwest of Tuscany. It's actually a spa town. So great spa features on the upper and lower part of the city. Different from the other program is we incorporate Lucca and Pisa. Pisa, famous for the Leaning Tower, and Lucca is home to the medieval walled city and all sorts of musical components to this town. Great composer comes from Lucca as well. They have a summer festival, which is just amazing. We work our way to San Gimignano and Siena, as well as a city tour in Florence, and then we continue south. After those 5 nights in 1 hotel, we go down to Assisi, learn all about St. Francis of Assisi on a walking tour and the cathedral visit. And then finally, we wrap up with 2 nights in Rome. It's where we'll do a city tour as well as the tour of the Vatican. So great program, November 5th. Last but not least in Italy is the Amalfi Coast, getting down south. And this one flies into Rome. We spend a night on the back end before flying home, or our 2-night extension to Rome where we really get to see the city. But once we fly in, we head straight down to Sorrento and the Sorrento area. That's where we spend 5 nights at 1 hotel. We'll take you up to Pompeii, and this is one of the most amazing sights to see, the difference between Pompeii and Herculaneum after Mount Vesuvius erupted. We'll see Positano and Ravello as well as the Amalfi, and then out to the Isle of Capri, and that is a great optional tour along with Naples. And then we head back to Rome for our final night, great farewell dinner there, and then a 2-night extensions available again for Rome. Athens in the Greek Isles heads out October 8th, so we fly into Athens round trip. We spend a couple of nights in Athens on arrival, getting to see the city, the Acropolis, the Parthenon, and so much more there. And then we take a high-speed ferry out to Santorini for 2 nights and 2 nights in Mykonos. So Santorini, home to some great wine tastings, and we'll do a wine tasting while we're there. Then we also go out to the island of Delos, and this is an archaeological site. So we'll have a local guide to show us around. We come back into Athens for our last night, and then we also offer an optional extension up to the north and that's to the cities of Delphi and Kalambaka. Kalambaka is home to Meteora, which is home of the beautiful monasteries. And so this is a great way to learn all about the northern part of Greece as well. Last but not least, on our international side is Australia and New Zealand. We have one departure left for the year, and that is October 21st. So a really great incorporated tour, flying into Sydney, and that is 3 nights there. And we'll get a city tour in Sydney as well as a visit to the Opera House. And so we'll see the exterior as well as the interior on that tour. We get a chance to see the zoo in Sydney as well, home of amazing animals that we don't have here. And then up to the Great Barrier Reef and the area of Cairn. So that's where we spend 3 nights. We continue down to Melbourne, and that is a very multicultural city, very modern city in architecture, and fantastic food there as well. And then really my heart and soul of this program is getting over to New Zealand. It's one of the most majestic and stunning sights. Getting into the South Island, we spend 3 nights in Queenstown and get to see Milford Sound as part of that. We work our way along the north end and go up to the National Kiwi Hatchery as well as the Maori Hangi. So the Maori were the cultural tribe of the Polynesians in that region. We see the Hobbit Town, that's a movie set of The Hobbit, and then up to the North Island to Rotorua, similar in some aspects to Yellowstone with the different geysers and fountain pots. And then we fly out of Auckland on this program. So October 21st, a great program, 17 days to Australia and New Zealand. Our holiday programs are some fantastic trips that depart prior to the actual holidays. But in November and December, these areas are fantastic for the different markets, for the different lights and decorations, and it is an amazing time to travel. So before the actual holidays, you get a chance to get out and explore at some relatively reasonable price points. December 4th, we head off to Montreal and Quebec City for the Christmas time. We'll fly into Montreal and fly out of there as well. We take the Via Rail up to Quebec, and that's where we spend 3 nights and get a chance to see a couple of the different markets there, like the Old Quebec Christmas Market, a Sugar Shack demonstration, learning all about that, and the Copper Museum as part of our tour there. But one of the big highlights is the Notre Dame Cathedral as well. It's a great, great building and facility. Santa Fe holiday takes up December 4th, and this is another great opportunity to travel to New Mexico. We'll stay 4 nights, 5 days in Santa Fe, and getting to see El Santuario up near Taos, as well as the Taos Pueblo. We'll do a city tour in Santa Fe as well as Albuquerque and incorporate the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center. So this one heads out again December 4th. Smoky Mountains and Pigeon Forge holiday gets out to the East Coast into Tennessee. That's where we fly in and out of Knoxville on December 8th. And we stay 4 nights in Pigeon Forge. So a wonderful setting to travel around. And just like Chris said, we get to see the Biltmore Estate during the holidays. And they do an incredible job of decorating. Over 20 Christmas trees in that beautiful building or castle, as you were. And the estate is stunning with all of its different gardens and landscaping. But they really do it up for the holidays. We work our way out to one of the most visited national parks in the country. That's the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. And then over to Dollywood. And so this is a great highlight for a lot of folks, getting to spend a portion of the day at Dollywood. We have free time both in Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg on this tour. We also incorporate the Titanic Museum. So if you remember the movie or you remember the actual ship design, the famous Grand Staircase is on display, and you can take your photos there. But it really is a great opportunity to learn about the people that not only survived but perished on the Titanic. And then last but not least, a great moonshine tasting to try a regional specialty. Savannah and Charleston holiday, another great destination during that time of year. A little bit better weather in most cases, but a wonderful time to go out to the southeast coast. So Charleston for 2 nights, Savannah for 2, and Jekyll Island as well. We'll visit another great option to see the Music Cities, and this is during the holiday time on December 3rd. We'll fly into Springfield on this program and head straight into Branson for 2 nights. And that's where we get to see the Shoji Tabuchi Christmas show and Doug Gabriel show. Then we work our way out to Little Rock for the Clinton Presidential Library, Memphis for 1 night, and that's also where we get to see Elvis Presley's Graceland. And we wrap this program up with 2 nights in Nashville. New York City holiday, again, this is one of the most quintessential holiday destinations, whether it's Thanksgiving or the Christmas season, where they decorate the entire city. You have the main Christmas tree there right near Rockefeller Center. And then we also take you out on a city tour. We get to see a great Christmas store as well as the Radio City Music Hall Rockettes. We do the One World Observatory and 9/11 Museum and Memorial, and then a Broadway show on this trip. So December 6th, it's a guaranteed departure, 5 days and 6 meals included. Then down to New Orleans. I said it before and I'll say it again. It's a great cultural city mixing in the French and Cajun cultures. Again, beautiful homes and mansions. And we get to visit Café du Monde for their famous beignets. These are donuts with powdered sugar on them. We do the New Orleans School of Cooking, and this is a great demonstration to teach you how to make a lot of these wonderful Cajun dishes. And then on our city tour, we also incorporate a walking tour of the French Quarter. And last but not least is the celebration in the Oaks. This is the highlight of the holiday season in that region. And it's a beautiful park that they've strung different lights and different setups, but absolutely fantastic. So take a look at that online, the celebration in the Oaks. Make sure you sign up for New Orleans holiday. It takes off December 3rd. San Antonio holiday, again, another great program, and San Antonio really does it up for holiday seasons and different events. So this one's December 4th, seeing the San Antonio City Tour in different areas, as well as the River Walk. If you like to have a good drink, a good healthy drink, all along the River Walk, it is open container policy, so they let you walk around with whatever you want. We also visit the Alamo on this tour, and you learn all about the history of Texas as it was under Spanish and Mexican control, and then as we made our way into the region in the 1800s and this famous battle. So we also see the film, great IMAX theater film on this. We take you over the Mission San Jose, so it's a different structure of missions, all encompassing that region. And then the LBJ Ranch and National Historic Park. The home itself is under construction, but we should still see the ranch itself. And the World War II Museum. This is a fantastic opportunity to see this wonderful setting. It focuses on the Pacific Theater in the town of Fredericksburg, and a great museum altogether. But up and down the River Walk are these holiday lights, and we also take a river cruise to see them and learn about the different buildings along the way. We do a trip up to Austin as well as on this trip, and that is the capital. So great program, December 4th. Sedona holiday, getting out for 4 nights in Sedona, and we get to see Montezuma's Castle as well as Grand Canyon National Park on this tour. But some really great highlights, including the town of Jerome, which is an Old West mining town, and the trolley tour through Sedona. So really nice getaway, short-term, lower-cost trip for 5 days and 4 nights. And the Sierra Snow Train. This one hits Northern California for 2 nights in Sacramento. We take the Sierra Nevada train, and that is the California Zephyr, up and over the Sierras and into Reno for 2 nights as well. And on this program, we do a brewery visit and tasting in Sacramento. We get to see Lake Tahoe and head down to Heavenly Village. And then within Reno, we see the National Automobile Museum, and then out to Virginia City. And that was home of the Comstock lode for the silver mining strike. This one takes off December 8th, and it's a wonderful program. Make sure you don't miss it. Now, at AFC, we also work with a couple of different ocean cruise partners. We work with Holland America Cruise Lines, and they do trips all around the world. I always recommend doing some of the longer stretches, the 35 or 50-day trips, because you can really save on some of those repositioning cruises as they were. And those are also on Princess. So these are long-term cruises on the off season as the ship is moving from one destination to the other. but some amazing prices for 22, 26 days at around $2,000 per person for the lowest category. Again, for our show specials as we wrap up, if you book a new 2024 tour or European river cruise by Friday, May 17th, that's this Friday, we've actually reduced the deposit on these tours down to $199. So you place your space on these trips for low cost. We also offer $20 off the travel insurance if you pay for that with your deposit. And then our early booking savings that I mentioned before is where you can save up to $200 on European river cruises and up to $100 off on most domestic and international tours. You must pay your final payment by check on that. And again, those two categories up to the first 20 is the highest savings. And then if you're the 21st through 40th passenger to book on a tour and use that check as payment, you can save quite a bit as well. Our one cabin category upgrade is available on our last remaining river cruise of the year, and that's the 24 highlights of the Douro with Spain, whether it's the October 28th or November 4th departure. Great option for that. So you book a lower category, usually category B, and you're upgraded to category A, which has more space and better views. Then our special single supplement savings, 50% off on the single supplement. These do not include suites or junior suites, but all other categories, November 4th on the Douro River. So if you're a single traveler, do not miss out on that. To get all of these great savings, you must use the code 199FALL for that great low-cost deposit. So again, 199FALL for the savings code. We'll go ahead and show you how to book. You can call our 1-800 number, 369-3693. You can email Joe, Holly, or April at afctours.com, or find our forms on our website, that's afcvacations.com. But each and every one of our reservations coordinators are able to help you out and get you all booked. Again, use that special code 199FALL. And from all of us at AFC, we just wanted to thank you for taking the time to join us today. Chris, if you had any last minute pieces to add?
I would say that if you have seen something that piques your interest, it would behoove you to jump on board, because not only will the savings not be there later on, but chances are the spaces will not be there. And I don't say this from a perspective of sales. This is observation over the last couple of years as things have really started taking off in travel. So we really hope we get to see you down the road just in the next few months and plan ahead for something to look forward to even 6 months from now. Thanks for being here, folks.
Really appreciate you coming on, Chris, and appreciate all of you for logging in as well. Thank you so much for traveling with AFC, and we look forward to having you on another tour in the future. Have a great day.